Welcome to MPC. This video will show you how to install a remote start in a 2015 to 2020 Nissan Murano. The vehicle shown in this video is a Nissan Maxima, but all the wiring and programming is identical. The only change is a slightly different dash disassembly procedure. Most of the installation takes place at the BCM, which is located behind the instrument cluster. We'll need to remove a few panels to gain access to that BCM. First, release the tilt lock at the bottom of the steering wheel column and lower the steering wheel down. Next, remove the top panel that's above the instrument cluster. There's a few clips that hold it into place. All we need to do is grab it firmly, then pull it up and out. Locate these two screws at the top of the instrument cluster. We'll need to remove both of those using a Phillips screwdriver. Now turn the steering wheel to the left and you'll see a screw on the left side of the steering column. Remove that screw, then turn the steering wheel to the right and remove the screw on the right side of the column. Pull the steering wheel outward. Then use your pry tool to loosen the small panels on each side and the top of the steering column cover. This will allow you to remove the instrument cluster and the cover for the top of the steering column. Now we need to remove the three screws that hold the instrument panel cluster. One is on the top, one is down on the left side, the other down on the right side. A magnetic tip screwdriver will be very helpful here. Now the instrument cluster will come out. Tilt it forward and disconnect the two plugs by pressing on the release tabs and pulling gently. Set the cluster aside. The ECU is the box that you see here with the plugs going into it. There's a screw on each side holding it into place. Remove both of those screws and now we can get access to the back of the ECU. Just rotate it and face it downward so you can get to these 5 plugs. There's a release tab you can press on each plug and it allows you to disconnect it from the ECU. The plug all the way in the left side can be left in place, and we're going to need to put T-taps on 2 of the wires there. The black wire and the white wire as indicated on your tip sheet. Locate the black female 4-pin connector included with your kit. It's the one that has a black wire and a red wire with bare ends. Attach male spade connector terminals to the ends of those wires. Plug the black wire into the T-tap that you put on the black wire in the car, and then the red wire into the T-tap that you put on the white wire in the car. This will provide power and ground to the remote starter. Now we're ready to plug in the 4 T-harnesses. We'll start with the green one. Connect the female into the matching green plug in the car, and then insert the male into the ECU. Repeat with the black plug next to it, and then the other 2 plugs. This set of white plugs is not used. You can either cut the plug off and tape off the wires, or just leave it be and stow it behind the dash with the rest of the wiring. Our wiring is now complete and we're ready to program the EvoAll. At the end of the harness assembly that goes into the EvoAll, you'll find a 4-pin black connector with a locking tab. Plug that 4-pin connector into the 4-pin female connector with the red and black wires that you previously connected at the BCM. Take the other 4-pin black plug, the one without the locking tab, and insert it into the EvoAll while holding down the program button. The LED lights on the EvoAll will start to cycle. Let go of the button when only the blue LED is lit. If your timing was not exactly correct and a different LED is lit after you release the button, just disconnect the black plug and start over. Insert the remaining plugs into the EvoAll, the 20-pin white connector, the 5-pin white connector, and the 6-pin red connector. Now press your push to start button on the dash 2 times. The blue LED will turn off, and then after a few seconds, it'll start to flash rapidly. Press the push to start button one more time, and after a few seconds the blue LED will turn off, and then the red and yellow LEDs will start to flash. Now disconnect all the plugs from the Evo module. The 4-pin black plug should be disconnected last. Now the module is ready for decryptor programming. Now we will show you how to perform decryptor programming. You should have already downloaded the FlashLink software, installed it, and updated your FlashLink Lite. Let's begin. Bring the Evo module to your computer and plug it into the 4-pin plug from the FlashLink Lite. Next, click the Decryptor tab. Then click the Send Data button. Wait while the updater reads data from the Evo. Once it is done, it will update the Evo, and then you'll need to wait again. You'll see a status bar at the bottom of the screen. When it gets to 100%, the decryptor process is complete. You can now unplug the Evo module and plug it back into the connectors in your vehicle. Back in the car, reinsert all of the connectors into the Evo module, starting with the black 4-pin. Test the system by pressing the lock button on your remote fob 3 times, each press about 1 second apart. After a few seconds, the car will start. Enter the vehicle, test to make sure it shifts into gear properly, then press the push to start button 1 time to shut the system down. Now we need to stow our wires and put the ECU back into place. Replace the Phillips screws. Insert the plugs into the back of the cluster and replace the 3 screws that hold the cluster in place. Replace the cluster trim panel and the top cover for the steering column. Then the 2 Phillips screws on either side of the front of the steering column. Replace the Phillips screws that hold the dash cluster in place, and then snap the top panel back into place. Test the system again to make sure everything is working correctly, and enjoy your remote start from MPC, the leader in do-it-yourself remote start installations since 2007.